In this Fusion 360 tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create primitive shapes. Often, primitive shapes are a great way to start the modeling process. Of course, on complex models, we'll use sketches and other ways of creating forms, but creating a cube in Fusion 360 only requires one option in the design timeline versus a sketch to make a cube that would require a sketch and an extrude. To get started, go up to the Create menu and select Box. In Fusion 360, you need to select one of these planes. If I select the ground plane, it will go anywhere on this ground plane. So if I select over here, I can drag out the size of my box and then pull it up to the size I want. It'll make a new body. If I go create box, select the ground plane again, I could also select from the origin and then I can pull this out and then pull up and press OK. In addition, I can create a box on top of a box or on the side. So if I select this face, then I draw my shape. I can pull the box out, and then I have options that I can either join, cut, or intersect, or make a new body. In this case, I'll join. So now that is part of this body. And you can tell that by only having two bodies here. Watch the difference if I create box right on the side of this box. I'm going to extrude, but this time I'll select new body. This is the third body, and I can tell that by turning the eyeball on and off. In addition, we can also cut. So for example, if I create a box, select this form here, draw the box, and if I extrude down, it's going to cut through these bodies. And nice thing about it is I can choose which ones it'll cut through. So right now it's cutting through both bodies. If I don't want it to cut through body 3, I can uncheck that mark, then press OK. So that's how boxes work. Let's go ahead and see how we can use cylinders. So I'm going to delete all of these objects. And next I'll create a cylinder. This works the same way as a box. I can select the plane, draw my circle, and then pull the cylinder up. Press OK. What's really great with cylinders is you can use it to make holes. So create cylinder, select the top here, then I can cut right through and make a hole in my part. So this is a great way to put holes in things very quickly. So with these small primitive shapes, you can make pretty complex forms very quickly. Let's go ahead and delete that body. Next on the list, we have create sphere. Spheres are a little bit more tricky because you have to think about where you want the sphere to be. So I could click the ground plane, then I click and it makes a sphere, and then I can decide how big it is. Notice that it is halfway through the ground plane. So the origin of the sphere will be on the plane that you select. So now I have this sphere, and then I can do the same operation. So for example, if I create a box, I can draw my box right here. Then if I extrude through the sphere, I can cut and press OK. Then I can combine operations. For example, I can create a cylinder on this right here, select the cylinder, cut a hole through this. And now this is a pretty complex part that I've made with just a few operations. So primitive shapes are very powerful in Fusion 360 and are a great way to get started modeling. Let's go ahead and delete this. Create torus. A torus is like a donut. So I can create my torus by selecting the plane, dragging out. Then I have a few options. I get to decide the thickness of the torus as well as the diameter. So these are both changing and will affect each other. You can also choose inside. So if you want everything to be on the inside, you can choose outside or on center, depending on what you need. So a torus is a great way to make all kinds of forms because it's smooth all the way around. Delete the torus, then create coil. Coils are a great way to make threads and all kinds of textures and forms. You can choose the diameter of the coil, and then we have a number of options to use. First, our profile starts on that plane. Then we can choose revolution and pitch, height and pitch, and spiral. So these will determine which options you have to select. You can also change the section to square, triangular, and remember on the center or outside. You can choose whether it's a new body, and then you can change the pitch. So the pitch is the distance between each of these coils, and you can make that closer. So there's lots of wonderful features you can use with the coil. And finally, there is the pipe. So for the pipe, we need a path, and we do not have a path. So how do you make a path? First, create a sketch. Let's make a sketch on the side right here. Then I'm going to select the line tool, and I will draw a line. Press escape to deselect. Select the horizontal vertical constraint, then finish the sketch. Now we have this path, create pipe. It says select a path. I will. There's my path. Then I can choose the section size. So I can make it bigger pipe, and my section can be circular, square, or triangular. And then it will make a new body, and I have the option to hollow this. And if I select hollow, then I get a thickness option. So I can choose how thick it is automatically. And then I get this nice hollow pipe. So this is a great way to control the way that you have your pipes going along. And if I press OK, it's also great to make a curved hollow form. So I'll make a new sketch, and then we'll draw on the ground plane right here. I'll get a line. I'll draw a line like this. Click the check mark, and then I'll add a spline to the line. Click the check mark. Finish my sketch, and then create pipe. Select path. Notice that the pipe will go along this path. This also works for 3D paths. And of course, I can choose to have it hollow or not hollow. This is a great way to make different forms very quickly in Fusion 360. Hopefully, this tutorial helps you get modeling in Fusion 360 with basic primitive forms and make fun 3D models. Happy 3D modeling!